Hey, put my phone down. Consummate professionalism. So, this is tea time. Doing this a little more off the cuff than usual, which is saying something because it's already usually pretty haphazard and non scripted. But I'm going to talk about some good times, uh, getting into Warhammer for the first time like a couple years ago, kind of missing that now, and uh, what I've been up to. This is tea time. Oh, and I'm drinking green tea classic, which is my favorite. It's still steeping, so we'll give it a minute and then drink that during this video. Stick around.
What do you need?
I'm bringing you your bird bath.
We're ready?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
starting high and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was.
Doing things a little different. Instead of walking, decided to sit at the park. So I wanted to tell a little story of a very good day. 2 years ago now, where me and my friend Gray, we wanted something to do, we were bored, and I believe in-game was at the theater. And we're like, let's go to the theater. There's a theater right next to my house in the mall. He picked me up, we went there, it was a good time. Problem was, the only tickets we could get were for like 2 hours later. And we're like, well, what are we gonna do, you know? We can't just hang out at the mall for 2 hours. And we looked around. One of the stores in the mall was just called Warhammer. Not Games Workshop, not tabletop games, it was called Warhammer. That was intriguing. That was, 1 second. I don't know how loud that's gonna pick up, so I'm gonna let that pass. But that was intriguing enough for us to stop in and see what was going on for an hour or two. And it was a store that was... There was a table in the middle, 2 tables in the middle, one of them with some miniatures on it and a little map. and then each of the walls were lined with little boxes of plastic guys that you built. And the only person in there was one guy who was maybe like late 50s, early 60s. And he saw us come in, and he was so excited somebody walked into his store. And he flagged us down and was like, hey, you guys looking to buy some stuff? You guys looking to get into Warhammer? What's going on? And he was super friendly and kind of, we're like, we'd never played Warhammer. I'm a little familiar with the lore, but that's it. And he's like, would you guys like to do a demo? And we're like, well, how long does that take? What does that mean exactly? And he's like, well, I'll set you guys up with like a small little army. This was when Sigmar just was a thing. And the armies were the default box that was out at the time, like the starter kit. It was the Stormcast versus the Ghost Boys, whatever they're called. And we're like, yeah, sure, why not? How long does that take? And he's like, it takes like 45 minutes to an hour. And we're like, we got like an hour and a half till our movie, so yeah, whatever, screw it, let's play. And he set us up, and he taught us how to play. And I remember at one point I was like, hey, I've played the little Warhammer disc game. Is this anything like that? He's like, oh no, it's nothing like that. It was a lot like that. But we had so much fun. And it was such a good day just playing Warhammer here. And he was such a nice guy. And it was like, how much would you like to buy anything while you're here? And we're like, oh, how much do they cost? And he's like, well, this box is like 120. And like, maybe not right now. And he's like, well, what about maybe just like getting into Kill Team or something? And it's like, well, we're more interested in the fantasy at the moment. He's like, well, you could buy like one of these getting started boxes, and they're only 90. And we're like, oh, we'll think about it. We'll definitely come back though. And we went and saw our movie, and that was a good time. That was the first time I went to a movie theater where you reserve your spots in the theater. Like, you go in and you're like, I want to sit on the third row in the middle. And you reserve that spot, and it's printed out on your ticket. That I've never seen that here in Texas anyways. But we enjoyed Warhammer so much that a week later, when Gray got paid, we came back and he bought 2 start collecting kits so we could play together. And when he was buying these, I got so excited that the next time we went in, I bought my start collecting kit. Actually, I didn't buy a start collecting kit. I ordered it piecemeal because I wanted to play Clan Scryer Skaven, because I love the Skaven and I love Clan Scryer with all their crappy little machines. But that night, I was staying the night like every other night at Gray's house, which was a lot of fun. And we brought these start collecting kits home to his house, and we came inside, went to his room, we got the glue and the paint and everything, and I brought my Gundam making kit with the little clippers and the files and everything, because I make a lot of Gundams. It's one of my favorite hobbies. And we stayed up for like 12 hours or something stupid. Like, that was the latest I've stayed up at his house, just clipping these little guys out. And I remember the glue was so fumy that his mom came in and was like, what are you guys doing? It smells like a paint shop in here or something. And she's like, are you guys getting high or something? We're like, no, we're just building models. And that was probably interesting. That's probably when she realized that I was a safe person to have over. Is that, I looked scruffier at the time. I had a longer beard and longer hair than hair at all. And she's probably sitting there smelling all these fumes. God, they're in there getting high or doing something illegal. And she comes in and we're building little fantasy figures. It's like, oh, this guy's probably totally safe. Like, I don't have to worry about him doing anything illegal. And I got so excited building these miniatures. And one of the guys, he got the, what are they called? The Whip Boys. They're like the BDSM, something, Demons of Cain or something like that. And one of the guys, I accidentally glued his hand on the wrong way, so he's like doing this weird, like, hey, and we had to fix that. But I don't know, it was a blast. We didn't even get to play for like 3 days because we still had to build everything. And so we built everything, and then Gray's roommate wanted to start building, so he got himself a kit. And this is like a week later. Around this time, my guys came in, and I built my kit. I ordered like a Doom wheel and some clan rats and just a basic like 500 point army, because all of us had like 500 or 600 points, so we tried to stay close to each other at the time. So I built my guys, my little rat boys, and I started painting them, and I got my own paints. And we would do these paint sessions for like hours and hours and hours where we would just hang out. I remember we got so excited we had nowhere to play because we were playing on this like little kitchen table that wasn't big enough for it. So we went to IKEA and bought 2 cheap like $20 tables and just pushed them together and played on these 2 tables. And it was a blast. It was some of the most fun I've had in a long time, and I miss it. You know, I miss going over there and having paint sessions. My brother Corey saw how much fun we were having and was like, I'm gonna do that. And so he bought himself the skeleton guys. He didn't want to build them. He didn't want to paint them. I eventually convinced him to at least build them. And then I was going to paint them. And me and Gray were doing these paint sessions on it. And then we just never got around to it. And now COVID happened. And so that probably won't happen for a while anyways. And I obviously can't paint now anyways with my right hand being out of commission. But that was just so much fun. And I miss it. I genuinely miss hanging out with people. And we would come back into that store every so often. But eventually we found a Tiny Toy Soldier or something like that in Plano, I believe. And they were giving like reduced cost for everything. So Warhammer was offering at value, and they never have sales at this place. So this other place that we were going to, that we discovered, it was a bigger store because they sold more than just Warhammer. They sold like all kinds of miniature games. And they also sold Warhammer at way reduced cost because they were getting them in bulk or whatever. So we were able to buy these things for like sometimes $40 less than retail. And that was how we were getting things for a while. And it was a blast. This is kind of ranty. I guess a positive rant. Because I don't really have an aim of this other than to say this was a fun thing that happened at one point. But I've recently been itching for Warhammer. You know, it's little plastic crack. It's a little plastic crack addiction. And it's just as expensive, if not more. But it's such an enjoyable... the playing is fun. Playing the game is fun. I love building and painting them, and I'm terrible at it. You know, Gray was way better at all the fine little details of the thing. Well, I'm really good at just getting paint on the model. You know, if you want 100 units to be brown, boom, they're brown. Whereas he was good at, like, painting the little intricate details on the sword or whatever. So we did a good thing like that. I would do, like, base coats, then hand them to him, and he would do the little details, and the models turned out great for most of them. Man. And I recently started... because I'm itching for Warhammer, because I've been watching Tom and Ben from the Yogscast play Total Warhammer 2. I just started at the beginning of the playlist. I'm going to watch through all of them again. I finished their Skaven playthrough. I'm on to the Pirate Vampires. But, I don't know, it just makes the itch worse. It doesn't fix it. And I've also been playing Warhammer Online Return of Reckoning, private server. And it bums me I can't play a Skaven, because they're my favorite, little rat boys. But it's still good. And the PvP is a blast. I might actually start a new character on there and do a playthrough. Something, I don't know. I'm kind of scared to do playthroughs of anything, like Let's Plays or anything like that. Because it's just in my past, I've put so much effort into them, and they got even worse views than what I'm currently doing. And I just don't want to do that again. It's so soul-sucking. But I don't know, I have this itch to do Warhammer stuff. You know, it's so delightfully British. Like, even the orcs are just like chavs. And it's so fantastic, and I love it. And I wish that I could do more of it. You know, I might load up Tabletop Sim and see if any of my friends want to play some Warhammer. Yeah. So that's that. Doom Wheel. Doom Wheel. I'm gonna go. This is fun. I might do more stationary stuff like this with the camera because I can actually manually lock the focus. I think I have the exposure a little too high, but in past videos it was a little too low, and I'm kind of figuring stuff out. Also, with my mic at the desk, Linux is very finicky with audio, and so I had a noise gate on, and it was clipping too much, and I have to figure out how to fix that, and that's going to be a whole thing. But I'll adjust it and get it working. I'll talk about that more on my next Linux progress report. See ya. So one of the things I'm going to talk about this week is went over and visited my grandma Margie. Didn't get to say much or stick around for too long because she was going somewhere. But it was nice just to kind of see somebody that I don't live with. You know, interact with a human being that I don't interact with every single day, which is, it's nice. You know, we dropped over a birdhouse that my dad was working on for her. And it was fun. It was nice to get out of the house, which I rarely do at the moment. Part of that is I'm very agoraphobic. And it's hard to motivate myself to get out of the house. I can go like around my house and the immediate area is fine. Like the park that's 2 minutes from my house is fine, depending on the day. But a lot of times, even that is a challenge. And it's really easy for me to just stay inside forever, you know, and just never leave. School was interesting because of that. Like, it was hard for me to go places and to get on the bus every morning and go to college, to go to Richland. And it was just a lot. It was very stressful and very anxiety, and I'm still full of anxiety because of it. And in many ways, I miss going to school. I miss walking around the campus, eating my lunch there, hanging out with people. But at the same time, it was a level of anxiety that is just gone. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. I feel I made so much progress over the last couple years since high school, bettering myself, kind of dealing with these anxieties and problems that I have. And it feels like in the last year since 2020, I've regressed in many of these ways. That a lot of these things that I had worked on and bettered myself with are going backwards. My agoraphobia is worse. My general anxiety is worse. My depression is worse. My insomnia is back to being bad again. Not as bad as it once was, but bad. I've had insomnia since high school, and at one point it was so bad that I would go 3 or 4 days without sleeping, pass out. Go 3 or 4 days without sleeping, pass out. And that's how I lived for like 2 years. I was anemic because of it. I wasn't eating right. It was just a terrible time. And I'm not there anymore. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm glad I'm not where I was. And I don't know. It feels like in many ways I'm going back, and it's a problem, and I don't know how to fix it. Since I got my first vaccine, I'm hoping here in a couple weeks when I get my second one, I can start leaving the house a little bit more and forcing myself to do things out of the house. But it's a real problem, and I don't have a solution at the moment, and it sucks. And all the stress that I have going on is making it so much worse. Yeah. Bit of a bummer. I talked about some good times and some bad times. Let's see if my tea is ready. That's good. I gotta take the tea bag out now. Yeah, green tea, you don't let it steep forever. It'll actually burn the leaves that are inside the tea bag, so you really want to let it steep for like 3 or 4 minutes at max, and then take it out. Otherwise, you get this like really bitter undertone with your tea. Some teas you can leave in forever, like a lot of the herbal teas, you could just leave the bag in. But green tea especially, you just really don't want to do that. I learned that the hard way. For years, I never really was a fan of green tea, and I was like, why is it so bitter? And then someone told me that, and I started doing it that way. And it actually, on the package for this tea, it says don't steep for longer than like 4 minutes. That's a quote. Don't steep for longer than like 4 minutes. It's real professional. But I say but a lot. I gotta work on that. I gotta work on a lot of things. I don't know, I haven't been sleeping well. So whenever I don't sleep well, I add more fillers to my language. I add a lot more buts and likes and I don't knows. Because I'm unable to think of what I want to say fast enough to say it. So it's like I'm running like a word deficit. Like I'm barely keeping up with my thoughts as I'm saying it. And I tend to stutter a lot whenever I do that. It happens more when I'm tired or stressed, which I have been. Yeah. But things are looking up. You know, it's possible that in the near future this whole thing will be lift and things can go back to normal in some way. Or maybe they never will. I don't know. We'll make do with what we got, and we'll survive, and we'll live. And there'll be good times, and there'll be bad times. I miss seeing people. I miss my friends. I was finally socializing. Like, with real, like, people. I was gonna say real people, like people online aren't real people, but people in person. And then it was like, nope, you gotta stay indoors for a year and a half. And everything just rolled back. Yeah, I was finally moving forward with a lot of things. And it sucks. It really does. Yeah. This is a bit of a bummer. It really is. You know, I want a happy video. But they're not all gonna be happy. That's the thing about doing what I'm gonna do with this series. I'm just gonna talk about what's on my mind and what is going on, and it's not always gonna be happy. And this isn't particularly like so sad or dark, but it might one day. You know, something really bad could happen, and I'm gonna talk about it. Maybe I should put warnings in the video for that. I don't know. But yeah, it's tea time. That's what I do. This is it now. It's gonna be this for a while. Just me talking. I want to do more things out of the house. I'm hoping that doing this video series, whatever you call it, web series, I don't know, vlog, will motivate me to leave more often. The thing is, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I have nothing to do. I can't like go into places and stuff like that. I mean, I could, but I'm high risk and I really don't want to chance it until I get at least my other vaccine. But I'm hoping that this will motivate me to kind of fight that agoraphobia a bit and to actually leave and do things. Because right now it sucks. But you know what? It's gonna get better. I'm not completely hopeless. I don't know. This has been tea time. Hopefully next one will be a little bit more positive. Cheers. See ya.